The room was full, but the air felt empty. Dozens of eyes were fixed on one man standing near the end of the long conference table. Daniel didn't look panicked. He didn't look angry. He didn't even look surprised. He looked prepared. Outside the glass walls of the boardroom, employees whispered, phones vibrated. News alerts were already circulating, even though the meeting wasn't over yet. Millions of dollars were missing. The company's accounts were frozen, and someone had to be blamed. The chairman cleared his throat and said Daniel's name. That was all it took. Daniel had never wanted attention. He joined the logistics firm when it was still small 3 offices, borrowed equipment, and long nights fueled by coffee and ambition. While others competed for visibility, Daniel focused on systems, controls, and efficiency. He became the person everyone relied on but rarely acknowledged. If a process failed, Daniel fixed it. If numbers didn't align, Daniel reconciled them. If deadlines were impossible, Daniel found a way. Over time, he rose to operations manager not because he asked, but because the company couldn't function without him. Ironically, that very reliability made him invisible. The trouble began quietly. A new expansion plan, riskier contracts, aggressive growth targets. Daniel warned them. He raised concerns in internal meetings, flagged potential liquidity issues, and requested staged approvals. His emails were polite, professional, and carefully worded. The board acknowledged them, then ignored them. They wanted speed. They wanted confidence. They wanted numbers that looked good in presentations. And when the financial strain finally surfaced, they needed something else. They needed a shield. The emergency board meeting lasted less than an hour. By the end, the strategy was clear though never spoken aloud. Daniel's approvals were on the operational documents. The board's directives, however, were verbal. The public narrative would be simple: a single name, a single mistake. A single villain to carry the weight of everyone else's decisions. When the chairman asked if Daniel had anything to say, the room went silent. Daniel looked around. He recognized every face. Men and women he had protected, executives whose reckless decisions he had quietly absorbed. People who now avoided his gaze. He understood the choice he was being given. And he made it. Daniel spoke only once. I accept responsibility for the operational oversight. No excuses. No accusations. No details. The relief in the room was immediate and palpable. Within days, Daniel resigned. The company issued a statement. The media filled in the blanks with speculation and outrage. Former colleagues stopped answering his calls. Industry doors slammed shut. His professional reputation collapsed faster than the company's stock price, and just like that, Daniel disappeared. But what no one knew was that Daniel had prepared for this very moment, years earlier. Not because he expected betrayal, but because he believed in accountability. Every directive, every approval, every instruction delivered verbally, he documented them all. Quietly and meticulously, he stored them legally. And he submitted them as a contingency file, a digital time bomb designed to activate only under a very specific set of conditions. The document wasn't revenge, it was insurance. The years that followed were not easy. Daniel sold his apartment. He took odd contract work under different names, flying under the radar. He avoided industry events. People who once praised him now whispered when they saw him. But Daniel never defended himself publicly. He knew that defending himself too early would destroy the very truth he was trying to preserve. Meanwhile, the company survived. New leadership came in and rebranded. The executives rewrote history. Daniel became a cautionary tale they told new employees. Poor controls, they would say a single-point failure, they claimed. They told the story often because repetition makes lies feel comfortable. And the longer they told it, the safer they felt. 7 years later, the company prepared for a major acquisition. The new investors were thorough, demanding a full audit. Every archive was opened, every file reviewed, every contingency clause examined. That was when the system flagged something unusual. A sealed legal submission, time-locked, board-referenced. The auditors opened it. The document was precise, clinical, undeniable. It contained email chains confirming the board's risky instructions. It had time-stamped approvals that preceded Daniel's actions. And at the very end, a final resolution authorizing the extreme risk exposure signed by the board. The first signature belonged to the loudest critic, the very executive who had so publicly blamed Daniel. The room fell silent again, but this time, Daniel wasn't there to see it. Investigations followed. Legal notices were served. Internal interviews were conducted in a state of quiet panic. The truth emerged without drama, without a big public fight. Daniel hadn't failed. He had simply followed orders. And those orders had been designed from the start to leave him exposed. There were no public apologies. Only a series of quiet resignations. Settlements were made. Corrections were buried deep in the financial sections of newspapers. Daniel received a single call from the audit firm confirming the findings. He didn't celebrate. He simply said, "Thank you." Daniel never returned to the company. He didn't need to. His name was cleared quietly, fully, and permanently. He began consulting independently on governance, accountability, and risk management. And this time, companies listened. They listened because they had seen what silence could hide and what patience could reveal. Sometimes, justice doesn't arrive with a thunderous roar. Sometimes, it waits patiently until the lies feel safe and comfortable. And then, it simply lets the truth speak for itself. Thanks for watching.